What's up, everybody? Today is October 17th of 2023, and in today's video, we're going to talk about the sudden passing of high school football coach Tom Taraska. Now, most of you have certainly never heard of Tom Taraska, but the reason I'm doing a video on him today is because this man was the head coach of Arrowhead High School's varsity football team while I attended the school back at the turn of the century. Taraska was a highly successful coach who took the team from the cellar to 4 state championships as part of 9 state title appearances for Division I WIAA football. Taraska's winning ways were rewarded in 2009, just before his retirement, when Arrowhead High School renamed their football field Taraska Stadium in his honor. What makes the timing of his passing so intriguing, however, is that just last week, Arrowhead installed a brand new scoreboard at that stadium, adorned with Taraska's name at a ceremony that he attended. And now, the very next week, it's being reported that he died in a single-car accident just a few blocks north of the school. But this is just one of a series of bizarre coincidences attached to the story. Consider the name Taraska. When you dig into the etymology of the name Taraska, find that it comes from the Greek word terasios, which traces to the Proto-Indo-European word dorandos, which means oak. Judging by the photos of the crash scene, and in particular, the leaves on the ground, it appears as if his vehicle struck an oak tree. And this even happened near a street called Woodfield Court. But on this channel, we also dive into the fascinating world of numerology, in particular through the language of Gematria, the mystical number lettering system that is actually a very key part of our language. Taraska passed away at the age of 71, which is the number that's been listed in most of the news headlines that we've seen. Well, in this special alphabetic order cipher of Gematria, where every letter is assigned a number, 1 through 26 relative to its position in the alphabet, not only does the name Taraska have a Gematria value of 71, matching his age, but so does the phrase car crash. In another important method of Gematria called single reduction, and this is where the digits in every number are added together just once. So the letter Y, for instance, normally the 25th letter, well, 2 plus 5 equals 7. Then we have S, the only double digit, because, turn this up for you. S is the 19th letter, so 1 plus 9 equals 10. And in this method, varsity football equals 71. So does the date October 15 when this occurred. And again, the crash was near Woodfield Court. Taraska was the head coach of the Arrowhead Warhawks. In this full reduction method of Gematria, where every number is reduced to a single digit prior to adding it to the equation, a lot of you might recognize this as Pythagorean Gematria. Notice how the phrase Arrowhead Warhawks, which was the team name that he coached, this has a reduction value of 80. Measuring to Taraska's next birthday from the date he died, we find it was 80 days to his birthday on January 3rd of next year. 80 days. Now, if we include the end date, this is also a span of 81 days. In the alphabetic order, the phrase car accident sums to 81. So does Heartland Arrowhead, which the school is most commonly called, Heartland Arrowhead 81. And this crash happened on October 15th, which sums to 81 in both of the standard reduction methods, both forwards and reverse reduction, yielding an 81. And October 15th was, again, 81 days before his birthday. But I also want to talk about the date numerology for when he passed away. October 15th of 23. 10 plus 15 plus 23 equals 48. Using the standard alphabetic order, the word tree sums to 48. And again, Taraska striking a tree after an apparent medical emergency. According to the news, he was driving on Rybeck Road and struck a tree near Woodfield Court. Well, in reduction, both Rybeck Road and Woodfield each sum to 38, or 48, excuse me. He was the coach of Heartland Arrowhead. Notice how Heartland equals 48 in reverse reduction, and Arrowhead equals 48 in standard reduction. 48 has been a very significant number all year long, because here we are in the year 2023. The number 223 is the 48th prime number. So it's been a topic of discussion, this 48, for very long. Notice how in these various methods of Gematria, Coach Terasa equals 223, Arrowhead football coach 1223, using the standard method of Gematria. This is one of the two main extended methods I use. The structure of this method is similar to the ancient Hebrew Gematria or Greek isopsephy charts. Heartland Arrowhead with capital letters 223, varsity football 223, and finally Warhawks summing to 223. These looking at the capital letter ciphers of Gematria, where again the alphabetic order is maintained, but with capital letters either mixed or added in. Now, last night, I made a video on the death of Suzanne Summers, and a big topic of this video was 9/11, as the thumbnail suggests. And at the end of this video, I started to talk about how this was connected to a death in my family. My uncle, who passed away from cancer in 2014, who lived in Port Washington, which is where the show Step by Step took place. Suzanne Summers, a star of that show. Port Washington, also where Dustin Diamond lived, another 90s TV star, and he died of cancer a couple years back. Well, anyway, another thing worth noting is that right around this time last year, in fact, a year ago this week, I made these two videos on an apartment fire that occurred in Heartland, Wisconsin that resulted in the deaths of 6 people. So it's strange that here I am a year later, and this is the only other time I'm doing a video about something in Heartland, Wisconsin. Something else that stood out about the details surrounding Taraska's car crash is that it reportedly occurred around 4:41, which is when they got the phone call at the police department. Now, when you write out the number 71, notice how this equals 144 in the alphabetic order, which is the reverse of 441. But also notice the reduction methods, where 71 sums to 45, both forwards and backwards. 45 is also the value of car accident. This car accident was in Merton, Wisconsin. And when you abbreviate this town name, Merton, Wisconsin has a double 45. Well, this is important because the 45th prime number is 197. And check out the gematria of both Arrowhead High School, where this man was a coach and a physical education teacher. Also, Arrowhead Warhawks gives us this 197 as well. Varsity football, in that same method, 197. And the date October 15th with capital letters, also 197. Something else that struck me is that we are currently in the 104th season of professional football. The NFL, currently in week 6, of its 104th season. And Taraska was a coach of the Warhawks, which sums to 104. In fact, with capital letters, notice how the city of Heartland also gives us a 104. But back to what I was saying with this video on Suzanne Summers and how this was all synced up to 9/11. Remember just last week, Israel had its 9/11, which, much like the U.S. back in 2001, is sparking the nation into war on terror. And the number 9/11 stood out here because in Latin Gematria, which is the cipher I consider to be most significant, WIAA has this value of 911. And this is the name of the athletic organization that governs sports for high schools in Wisconsin. And here you see Tom Taraska holding the WIAA trophy. And in the alphabetic order, the name Tom Taraska sums to 119. Also, Arrowhead High School sums to 116 with the S exception. And this number is an upside down 911. Car crash with this value as well. And with capital letters, Arrowhead equals 119. So does, what was it? Woodfield, the name of the street that he died near. So I hope we didn't jump around too much, but certainly something very strange going on in this world. My video on Suzanne Summers was about a riddle connected to cancer. And the word cancer has gematria values of 44 and 118. So does the state of Wisconsin, 44 and 118. And the reason I talked about a personal synchronicity in this video is, again, because I had an uncle who died of cancer that was connected to all of this. Very bizarre. But yeah, check that video out for yourself. There's more details linked in the description if you want to see my past videos on this apartment fire from Heartland, how this was all synced up to the NFL, which is, of course, relevant to the death of Tom Taraska, as he was a football coach. So those are linked below, as well as my video on Suzanne Summers. If you want more information on that and how this was all tied into 9/11. But very bizarre things. And how strange that this all connects to the school that I attended. And, you know, I was talking about 9/11 in that video, and I was at school during the 9/11 attacks at Arrowhead. And one more thing that stuck out to me about my connection to this story, because again, numerology is a study of everything around us, and not just the occult, not just the cabal, but our lives in general. On the date of this crash, it was my last day of being 2001 weeks old, which was the year, of course, of the 9/11 attacks. And then think about the date that this made news. No one reported his passing until October 16th. And this was the birthday of Suzanne Summers. Remember, this number upside down, with the zeros removed, represents the 9/11. All right, everyone, that'll do it for this video. Sorry for the volume mishap at the beginning. Peace, love, God bless, and we'll talk to you all soon. See ya.